stuff. And whatever's going on in his brain, you know it is 100% Bridget!
All right, here I am. It's me talking about something. And today I got my brother with me. He's
How you doing?
There he is right there. So I'm going to introduce him. That's Chris.
Hi.
Tell us something about yourself.
Hi, I'm Chris, and I'm one half of the two-dude super something. But today, I'm 100% participating with 100% Richard.
Right. I like 100% participation.
That's right.
That's you get your trophy.
Ooh, a trophy.
your participation trophy. Right on. So just get through this stuff real quick. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure to hit the like and to subscribe and all the good stuff that goes along with that, so that you find out when my next video pops up. And so that would be the subscribe button, right? Yeah,
Down there.
It is below us.
This is below us.
So, and if you're listening on audio, I never do this.
Don't
good.
do it.
I don't. If you're listening to me on audio, you can find me on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Pandora, iHeartRadio, and all over the podcast stuff. And once again, thank you guys for listening and hanging out with me this week. And I think we're gonna have an interesting time today. And probably because you know what's on my mind. We're gonna talk about big grapes, milk, and honey. Right on. Oh, we're done.
Oh,
I just said right on.
You guys have a great day.
All right. So here we go. So I'm gonna just hit on this real quick. So in Numbers, if you listened, I think 2 weeks ago I did one called Desert Living. So if you go back and listen to that one, there's some information in there about Joshua and Caleb and how they went and got their land. So I'm going to kind of dwell on that, and Chris is going to help me out today. And so here's the quick rundown. Moses gets close to the promised land with his group of folks.
He can see it from the rock he's standing on.
That's right. And so God says, send some spies.
Send the spies.
You're going to go over there and check out Canaan, the land of Canaan, right? Canaan,
Yep.
yeah.
Well,
Okay.
it wasn't Hemet. That's all I can tell you.
Go look at him. Everything over there in the darkness.
Because we would still be wondering the desert.
Lion King, all this land is yours except for that.
Except for that side. Don't go there.
Right. And so Moses goes, okay, I'm going to take basically one leader from each tribe, and you guys go and check out the land. And so they get there, and they're there for 40
days.
40 days. They actually hang out
in the promised land.
Yeah, they're in the promised land for 40 days.
As far as they know, it's not Vegas, but it is the promised land.
And we find out later that what they did there stayed there.
That is true. They had good times in the promised land.
Good times in the promised land. So these guys get there, and this is just for reference. It's Numbers. I'm going to reference today Numbers 23 through 33, and Numbers 14, chapter 14, 1 through 10. So if you need to go back and read those, feel free. And some of this will probably make more sense if you go and read it after the show. So, and here's verse 23. And they came into the valley of Eshel, and there cut down a branch with one cluster of grapes, and they carried it between two of them on a pole.
That is some big grapes.
That's some big grapes.
Because I've got big grapes. You got big grapes. We all got big grapes. Two people to carry out a cluster.
One cluster of grapes. Two people had to. I would say that's the promised land.
That is pretty promising. That's a lot of grapes.
That's a lot of grapes.
Or two big grapes.
We're going to get turned off. And then they also brought some of the pomegranates and the figs. So these guys, the figs and two grapes. That's awesome.
You know when you get back there, be like, really? That's it.
That's all you got is some grapes and
some grapes and some figs. I'm going back.
They should have gone. They should have gone back. See, the place was called the Eshel because of the cluster which the men of Israel cut down there, and they returned from spying out the land after 40 days. That's going to be a big key later on.
Yep, I agree.
Those 40 days. So these guys get back and they get to Moses and they go, "Hey, Moses, we were at the Promised Land for 40 days." He's like, "Yeah, what'd you see there?"
That's a fair question.
Yeah. So
40 days is a long time if you think about it.
Yeah.
Especially with no cell phones, no way to communicate with each other. Are they coming back? Did they get killed?
Yeah.
What happened to them?
Well, I think 40 days was probably the plan, though.
It may have been.
It doesn't really say.
Well, the Promised Land is probably pretty big, so I would imagine
that they had to.
They didn't have donkeys.
No. I think they just jumped over the lake
and walked around.
Walked around and said, "Let's steal some grapes."
Those are some big grapes.
and some milk and honey. So these guys are there, and they come back to Moses, and Moses, says, "Hey, what did you guys do over there?" And Caleb immediately jumps up. I think it's verse 33, right? No. So Caleb wasn't first. The regular guys were first. The other guys, regular guys. Well, regular. Everybody knows that Caleb and Joseph. I mean, that's a common thing.
That's right.
This is actually common stuff.
Caleb was a bad man.
Yeah, he was. He was a bad mother. Shut your mouth.
Shut our front door.
Right. So the crowd, basically the other 11 guys. 10 guys, because Joseph actually pops up later too.
Right.
And this is what they tell him. Somewhere back in where we at, verse 27 or something.
In there.
Right.
Yep. And they told him and said.
Here. Go ahead.
Okay. And they told him and said, "We went to the land where you sent us. It truly flows with milk and honey, and this is its fruit."
Yeah, so these guys get there and go, "This is where God wants us to be."
The proof.
The proof of the Promised Land.
Right.
Nevertheless, the people who dwell in the land are strong. So here's these jabronis, these guys that go, "The people that live there are strong. The cities are fortified and very large. Moreover, we saw the descendants of Anak there." And if you know that story, that's the giants.
The giants.
Right, so they see giants. And the Amalekites, the Amalekites dwell in the land of the south, the Hittites, all these places. So basically they're saying, look, there was a bunch of big dudes there.
Large people. That's why the grapes were so big.
Large people. I don't feel so bad right now.
Neither do I. I'm feeling kind of grapey.
I need some milk and honey.
You're going to have to carry me out on a big pole.
And so basically they're being kind of negative about their trip.
Right.
Does that sound like that to you?
I think they're sounding kind of scared.
Yeah.
I mean, Egypt was big.
Yeah.
These are big. I'm not saying size-wise, but strength-wise. They came from a place that was strong on them, and now they're going, and these guys are giant and fortified cities. I can see why they're worried.
Yeah.
So,
but then Caleb pops up.
Caleb.
And
Yep.
he quiets the people. He's a bad man.
He's a bad man.
And first, I think we made it down to like verse 30. So then Caleb pops up and he quiets the people. He said, "Let's go out there right now, and take possession, for we are well able to overcome it."
That's right.
So Caleb,
and he's 85.
Yeah, Caleb's not an old dude.
No,
not a young dude.
Not a young dude.
Well, I don't know. Back then, a lot of people they lived longer.
That's true.
Did they live longer?
I think that time was over. So he may have still been old.
He was. Yeah, I think he was an old dude.
Or he's getting close.
He's getting close.
Yeah.
So he pops up and says, "No, what? We can do this."
Today.
Yeah, today.
He wasn't even willing to wait. He's like, "I'm not packing or nothing. Give me a stick. Let's go."
So we were there for 40 days. So these guys, and then verse 31, I think actually down to 33.
33.
So read verse 33 right there.
"There they saw the giants, the descendants of Anak came from the giants, and we were like grasshoppers in our own sight, and so we were in their sight."
So look at that. He's grasshoppers in our own sight.
Right.
So that's a mentality right there.
It's a mentality that they were afraid. They had shrunk away from what God was promising them. And as far as we know, the big guys didn't even say anything.
Yeah.
They just saw them. And they said, "Oh, they must think we're grasshoppers." They don't even know if they saw them or not.
Yeah, they're just like, well, and if they were there for 40 days, I'm pretty sure they got seen.
Somebody had to see them.
Had to see these guys walking around with the grape pole.
Who's the new guys? And why are they so short?
Why are they stealing our grapes?
They really like those figs.
How many pomegranates do they need? Like they're feeding 40 million people on the other side of the desert or something.
At least. But 40 days, somebody had to identify them or say these guys are in the land, but obviously they weren't worried about them.
Yeah. So I mean, there's 12 extra people showed up to the land.
Right.
They obviously looked around, spent some time. They figured out every city that was there. They're like, they got people from here, from here, from here, from here, and then they're like, but we're grasshoppers in our own sight.
Right. And that's making a decision that I'm already weak and going to be destroyed.
Yeah.
They made that decision for some reason, and I don't know. Fear is powerful, so it bent their whole process of why they were even there. They're supposed to go there to prove it's the good land, and God's going to give it to them. And now they're like, I don't want to go here.
Yeah. And then look at this. So we're going to jump to Numbers 14. And so all the congregation lifted up their voices and cried.
Yep.
And people wept that night.
Well, you think they've been wandering the desert for what, 20 years?
Like this point, it's only been 2 years.
Oh, it's only been 2 years. And they're like, I don't want to go around again.
Yeah. I mean, I would... But the mentality there says, okay, then they make an entire generation of people cry.
Exactly. Well,
it feels like being a little brother.
No comment.
Watch this. Wait, where's that? I think it's in verse 3. Watch this. So this is Numbers 14 and verse 3. And this is this is what I talked about a couple weeks ago. It says, why has the Lord brought us to this land to fall by the sword, that our wives and children would become victims? Would it not be better for us to return to Egypt?
That's a scary mentality. I would rather be in slavery than be in freedom.
Yeah.
Even if it costs me something to have the freedom. And once again, there was no indication, giant or not, there was no indication that they were even under attack.
Yeah.
I mean, there's 2.5 million people on the other side of the river, and the guys on the other side don't even know they're coming.
Yeah, it'd be like we're over here in the desert, they're over there, nobody knows each other.
No,
and these guys went over there for 40 days,
looking around.
Nobody even said a word.
Nope.
Nobody got stabbed.
Nobody captured them.
Yeah, nobody got stabbed.
No ransom notes were sent back.
You don't hear anything about being mugged.
No,
nothing.
This sounds like a nice place.
Yeah, I would like to be there.
Yeah.
They got
big houses, and they have serious grapes.
And milk and honey.
And milk and honey.
And pomegranates and figs.
Yeah, it's a weird thing. I always forget about the pomegranate because I get fixated on the grapes. I mean,
it's a very specific thing that they
it
say.
is and for two people to have to carry it. I mean, I go to the store, I get 2 pounds of grapes in a bag, I carry it like this. To have two guys carry one clipping of grape on a pole.
That's some tremendous grapes.
That's a lot of grapes.
So these guys have a mentality that they've actually pushed into the future that their wives are going to die and their children are going to die, that they're all going to be victims. So they have this mentality already that they're just not going to, this isn't going to happen.
Well, I think they might bring that from Egypt because that already happened to them for 400 years. Maybe that's a possibility. They don't know any better. It's only been 2 years of freedom and it's been in the desert.
But still, that's better than
it's
slavery.
Still better than slavery, right?
That would be my thought.
But if you grew up in that and now you have to shift gears and have a different thought. But Caleb was ready to be free.
Oh yeah.
And the other guys were almost looking for an excuse to not have to deal with it. So they're like, hey, they're big, the walls are big. Yeah, maybe we should go down the river a little bit. So
okay, I can see that. That's good. That's good. And then so here these guys are in this desert slavery mentality. They don't want to try.
Willing to go back.
They're willing to go back to
it
and go. Well, and what if you go back to your slave owner, you're not going to live long.
You're not going to. Yeah, he's going to be a little upset. He lost the whole army.
Yeah, he lost the whole army,
and he lost all the firstborn. He's not going to be like, hey, come on back. It's not going to work that way.
Let my people back in. That's not. He already said let him go. He's going to keep him out there. But then watch this in verse 6. Joshua the son of Nun and Caleb so now Joshua and Caleb, those who had spied the land, and they spoke to all the congregation of the children of Israel, the land we passed through to spy out is an exceedingly good land. And so it's not just a good land, it's an exceedingly good land.
Exceedingly good.
If the Lord delights in us, then he will bring us into this land and give it to us.
Right.
A land which flows with milk and honey.
Yep.
And so Joshua and Caleb are the only two out of the entire group. I'm pretty sure Moses is going, yeah, let's go.
Well, I'm sure Moses is like, I don't want to walk out here anymore. The sooner the better.
Yeah, my feet hurt.
My feet hurt.
And so these are the only two guys, the only two dudes out of this entire group of people
that see it.
They have some vision.
They have some vision. They see what. Well, the proof is in. I mean, it sounds weird to us today. Okay, so they brought some fruit back. They brought giant grapes, figs, pomegranates, and some other stuff. Why is that? And milk and honey. And why is that supposed to be such a great sign? Because that was the wealth of the day.
Oh, perfect.
You know, that was the wealth of the day. They're showing, if they could have brought goats and sheep, all it's doing is showing how good the land is, because it's producing so much ridiculously good stuff. That is the wealth. The land is the wealth.
Yeah.
And I mean, today we might go, well, he drove over a Lamborghini and had a fur coat. The land and the fertility of the land and the sustainability of the land is the wealth.
Yeah. So they're saying, look, this is awesome. Basically. Yeah. These two guys are going, look, we just found the most awesome place.
How could we not want to go there?
How could we not want? And that's interesting to me, because you would think that, okay, these guys escape someplace that's horrible. You know, they go into the desert for a certain amount of time.
Right.
Horrible.
Yep.
You know, no food.
All they've been eating is bread and quail.
Yeah, bread that's only good for a day.
Right.
You know, and so you can't even store it.
Nope.
You know, and like fruit, bro.
And I mean, think about 2.5 million people. How long does it take you to walk that many people across?
So I'm pretty sure they had, because they took some cattle and stuff with them.
Yeah.
So they probably rode a cow.
But I would be tired.
I would be tired.
I wouldn't want to be hanging out there all day.
Would probably need a shower.
No. The guys who stayed behind are, who are those guys from Star Wars that have the mask?
Stormtroopers?
No, the other guy, the sand people.
Oh, the sand people. The guys that have the mask.
If you don't cross the river, you become a sand person.
Become a sand person. I see one of them now. You're making me cough. So these guys are like, yeah, we can go take the land. We can go take the land. And then the congregation, the rest of the group actually says, this is verse 10 in Hebrews 14. And all the congregation said to stone them with stones.
Yep.
Let's kill the positive people.
That's harsh. Why would you want to kill the... Fear is powerful.
Yeah.
Fear is powerful. I don't know. I just think of Caleb. They see it, and he was in such a way he wanted to leave everything he had. He didn't want to have anything to do with any of the past. I'm just going forward. Whatever's there will sustain me, and I'm going to just start brand new.
Yeah.
So it scared everybody. And what do you do with fear? You try to shut it down. If they can't speak, let's stone them. They can't talk about it. They can't remind us how good it is.
Kind of sounds like today.
Ooh. Because it sounds like somebody got hit with a big grape.
But these guys are that mentality of, these guys want what God said they could have.
Right.
And we want to stone those guys.
Yep.
And you take that and you kind of think to yourself, where am I at in life that I might have a fear that I might kill off my dream because of the fear that's in me?
Right. And that happens a lot.
Yeah.
That happens. Well, you had mentioned before in previous podcasts where you had a fear of success.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna lie, I have the same type of thing. You get rolling and you're feeling good about yourself. Things are kind of clicking along, and then you go, I'm not worthy. and so you start to sabotage yourself. And 2.5 million people took the word of 10 people and said, yes, we don't deserve it, so we're gonna buy into whatever they said. And I'm sure not all 2.5. I'm sure there were people who are like, yeah, I'm with Caleb.
Yeah.
You know, and Josh, but it's such a small number. And if you think about the people who are successful, where they call them the 1%ers or the top 5%, but their mentality is completely different.
Yeah. Well, and you know, it's the successful people, and this is all stuff that you read about in books. You know,
right?
These are the guys that make lists. These are the guys that do this. You know, they make a blueprint.
Yep.
You know, they make their own doors. You know, they do all this kind of stuff. They
stick to the plan,
and they stick to the plan. And these guys are coming back with
proof.
You know, proof that the plan that God put out is there.
All they prayed for 400 years.
Yeah.
They come and they get released from their slavery. They're taken across the desert, and all they hear about is how good it is. I'm sure Moses was talking about all the time. The day comes, grapes, figs, milk, honey, pomegranates. Here is the proof.
Yeah.
It is more than we could actually carry. We would have brought more, but there was only 12 of us.
Oh yeah.
And you know what? Sometimes I think it just scares people.
Yeah, well, like you said that fear is a powerful thing,
right?
And fear will keep you from doing stuff that's even simple,
right?
Because if God's got your back, it even makes it easier.
Yep.
If you really think about it, because yes, they're going to go over there. They're going to have to war over the land. They're going to have to fight. They're going to, because they're going there to take the land.
Action's about to happen.
Yeah. So they have to have their faith has to be in action. They have to step out over that thing,
and it's going to be a challenge. And so basically, they have to change their whole fear. Well, God actually steps in and says, "Well, forget these dudes." Yep.
Caleb and Joshua, though,
we'll let you go.
We'll let you go.
Yep. It's scary, God's response.
Yeah.
But He understands we can't. The nation at that time that He has chosen will not survive if it goes in with that mentality. They will be squashed like grasshoppers.
Yeah, because that's the mentality going in.
Right.
Because they're saying, well, we saw ourselves as small.
Too late to fix it.
Yeah. So God says, well, the next generation can go.
Yep.
Moses doesn't even get to go.
I know. It's a painful thing.
Like this guy,
poor Moses. Moses, like,
and he he actually says it. I don't have those verses in my notes, but he actually says it like just a little bit down to this evil group. He actually goes like, "Dude, you don't understand."
How is this close?
Well, now imagine being Moses. I actually, when I was pastoring the church, I had emailed a pastor friend of mine saying, because I was getting a little overwhelmed,
right?
And I emailed a pastor friend of mine and I said, I asked him, you'll realize who it is when I say this. I go, how do you manage to make decisions that, what's the word I'm looking for? That affect so many people? He goes, be glad you're not Moses.
Yeah, if you think about it, I mean. That's some serious weight on your shoulders.
Yeah.
That's some serious weight on your shoulders.
But you gotta think, if you have a God mentality, Joseph, Caleb, Moses, for a fact have a God mentality here.
It's a faith and trust mentality.
Right. They're going, okay, God said I could have this. So why doesn't anybody else? It's kind of a weird thing.
It is weird.
You run across people in life, and it's funny because they'll criticize you for being so positive that you want to go do something or go get a dream.
Right.
And like, well, you can't do that. Well, watch me.
Right.
Sometimes we have to actually come to that point, and I think that's because Caleb, when they go, he's like, "I'm get my hill."
Yep. He was there for 40 days. He's already plotted out which one he wants. He's already built a fence around it in his mind. He's got a swimming pool, and he knows where the store is at. Caleb was ready. He's like, I don't know what you guys are doing, but I'm heading that way.
I'm gonna get my stuff.
And it always blows my mind that he was gonna go turn around. Here's the proof. Let's go get it.
Yeah.
Don't pack. Don't take anything. Just let's go.
Yeah.
Let's just leave right this second. And I'm always blown away by Caleb in that respect, because he just, with almost what we would consider reckless abandon, is gonna chase down and get God's promise.
Yeah. He's going after the dream.
Yep.
And he's going after 100%, and it doesn't matter who goes with him.
Nope. He wasn't worried about it.
And plus, he's willing to wait out this other 40 years.
Yep.
The rest of the 40 years.
Because he's still got his.
Yeah, because he's still got his. So he's like.
So wait, if he's 85, 95, 105, 150.
Yeah.
Caleb's like, I'm gonna get my grapes.
My milk and honey.
My milk and honey. In the skull of my enemies.
Clap. It's a clap.
Go,
right
Caleb, go. I think I have a new hero.
Right on. I want to be able to do that.
Shoot, at 125, heck yeah.
if you're going to go after a dream, or you're going to go after something that God's promised you, what do you think would be... now, it's good to have a mentality of God's promised this.
Right.
But what would be something that you would tell maybe those guys over there on the screen that you would say, go for it?
Well, I like the fact that the proof is in their hand, so that means that there's a roadmap. And when we pray and we ask God all the time, use me, help me get somewhere, do something. God doesn't lead you blindly. He opens the doors. Like he opens the doors. We have these sayings. He opens the doors. He creates the pathways. The word even says how he takes you off the rocky land and he puts you on solid ground.
Yeah.
So he positions you in such a place that you can make it to the goal. Absolutely. And I think we just have to move our feet. That's what the faith is about. He puts us there and you're like, oh, I can see there's no mountain in front of me. I can see it. I can see the end. It's even if it's far away, I have hope because I can see it. I just got to get my feet moving.
Yeah.
My feet moving. And if I don't stray and I pay attention and I go in and out of these doors, I will end up where God wants me to be. And I will have success.
That's good. That's good. I like that because you have to have that mentality too,
and
that you can do it.
Yep.
Because as soon as that little thing sneaks in, like you mentioned, fear of success.
Right.
Once that little thing sneaks in and says you're not gonna be able to do that.
Yep. It gets heavy.
Yeah.
And that's where he says, don't lean on your own understanding. Don't look at yourself. Look at me. Come on. Look at me. Walk.
Come on.
What's the donkey in Shrek?
Come on, donkey.
Come on, donkey. Great. Now I just called myself a donkey.
That's all right. And God made a donkey talk, so.
And I'm still talking.
And I was just going to say that. You stole my line.
Sorry.
But now these guys are, now basically God says, okay, you got to wait 40 years.
Yep.
And I would rather do what God tells me to do now than wait 40 years.
Well, it just shows there's consequences to not paying attention.
Yeah, that's good.
We go a long time, and there's some things you're not going to get back. If your health changes, you're not going to have the opportunity to do certain things. If your financial, whatever, it doesn't matter. Time dictates, and if you will lose opportunities because of it.
But he never changed the promise.
No, he didn't change the promise.
God never changed the promise.
But the people roaming.
The people roaming disrupted
their own plan.
Their own direction.
Yep.
So they just changed direction.
Yep.
Not good. So so I think us as
the first generation ended up in Hemet. They hooked a left at Sinai.
I should have made a left in Albuquerque.
I left my wallet in El
Segundo. in El Egypt.
There was these Mayan virgins and
nobody's gonna get that.
That's okay.
That's all right. You gotta follow Chris on Facebook. So now we're going, okay. We get they roaming around for another 38 years because they're in the desert for a total of 40 years.
Right.
So a whole generation dies out. They finally get to the promise. Yep. Caleb gets his land. Joshua becomes the leader.
Right.
Moses dies in the desert. Poor
in
dude.
The desert.
And now they finally get to go. But my thought on that is, if you don't do it now, you can do it eventually.
Right.
But the time is now.
Time is now.
So whatever you have down inside of you, your business, your job, your ministry, your serving at church, whatever it is that you have inside of your heart
now
to go do it now.
Do it now.
And
I agree.
And find a platform.
And that's a Caleb mentality. He was doing it now. I'm going to do this now. When he came back, I'm now.
Yeah.
This minute, I'm not going to have any excuses. Oh, I have to pack. He's not going to have the excuse
he didn't give himself any time.
But that's what I'm saying. He just did it.
Yeah.
Now, and to what you're saying is, don't look for reasons not to get moving. Just do it now.
Yeah, and find a way. Because I remember when I started the podcast, I was kind of being pushed. You were pushing me. Mom was pushing me. They're like, this would be a great idea.
And it took both of us to push him.
Yeah. And so I finally broke out all the equipment and basically just did it.
Right.
I didn't look anything up.
No.
I went, just, okay. But that's really, I understand putting together a plan.
Right.
We all need a blueprint for something,
Absolutely.
And some things we don't, because depending on what your dream is, if your dream is to make $1 million, you have to have a plan to make $1 million,
right.
Or you can rob a bank.
Right.
Probably not the best to rob a bank.
Yeah.
Because that's bad.
That's not good. Go to the Gray Bar Hotel.
The Gray Bar. But if you put together, there is a purpose to putting together a plan. And then sometimes, because I didn't put together a plan until after I had already started.
Well, I don't think you even knew what to plan until there was something to plan.
Yeah. I didn't know where to look. I did some research so I knew how to get myself out there.
Right.
And that's why I did YouTube. And that's why I got
And there's
Podbean.
still things to learn.
Yeah.
But if you stop walking, you'll never learn them.
Right. And
So,
you continue to walk in the thing that
be
God
consistent.
that God tells you to do. I'm gonna end this with verse 30. I'm gonna go back to I believe it's chapter 13, verse 30. Because I'm gonna break this down a little bit. I'm not gonna unpack it. That's the big word right now. I'm gonna unpack this.
Yes.
So we're gonna do this.
Especially if you use that space packing, it gets really big, really fast.
You get the big bags.
Yep.
With the vacuum cleaner sucker.
Yep.
And you suck everything down it. You put a lot more stuff in your bag to unpack. So in chapter 13, this is number 13, verse 30, it says, Then Caleb quieted the people before Moses. Silence everybody around you.
Right.
Take a moment.
I agree.
Tell everybody to shut up
Okay.
in a kind fashion.
And the voices in your own
And
head.
the voices in your own head. Tell the enemy, I don't want anything to do with you.
And
Be quiet.
be quiet
And then let us go up at once,
at once. Right away. Right now.
right now,
Mm-hmm.
and take possession.
Yep.
For we are well able to overcome it.
Absolutely.
God makes us able
Yep.
to overcome any obstacle, any place that we have to go,
Right.
especially if he's already promised it.
Absolutely.
So if he's given you a promise, silence the naysayers
And go.
and go.
Let's go.
Right on,
Right on.
right on.